Hi, I'm DigiDino from Jinx Games, and this tutorial is about how you can set up a simple vendor and inventory system. Let's get started. But first, I would like to thank anyone who bought one of my assets from the asset store, and I would also like to ask if you could rate my asset and, if possible, give it a review. Also, I would like to show you my new asset, and that is this third-party asset actions for Playmaker. This has actions for third-party assets which do not have Playmaker actions included. Okay, let's start by showing you what I have in my hierarchy. And I have my managers here, and here I have my data. So this is going to be used as data, what I have inside here. Then I have a player, and I have some FSM and also some arrays, and I have my vendor part. Then I have this player canvas, and you can see here I have some slots here, 6 slots. And then I have an image to show the images, and then the sell price to show the sell price below, and the amount to show how much there are stacked. And I have this for each slot. Then I have my vendor, it's similar. So I have my buttons. Actually, these are buttons. So, but I will show you in a minute. Then I have my image, and I have the price here. I don't need stack because the vendor is unlimited. You could also set a limit, but I'm trying to keep it simple for now. Okay, and then I have my valuta, so that's my currency here, and that's just a black background and then a text component. Okay, now let's start with data. So in here I have some pre-filled arrays from ArrayList. I use ArrayList because one of the main advantages are this reference ID. So I can use this reference easily to communicate from other FSMs and other game objects. And with the standard arrays, you need to copy the array and stuff, and yeah, it's a little bit more work. It can work, but this is a lot easier. So let's continue. So I have here my item ID, and this is going to be an ID for my items, and you can put any number here except number 0, because we're going to use the ID 0 for an empty spot. So then we have these images. So item 0 is going to be orange, so ID 50 will be orange. Then ID 101 will be banana, and 110 will be strawberry, and 248 will be cherries. Then down here you can see prices. So I have preset some prices, and so oranges is going to be 50, bananas is 40, and strawberry is going to be 30, and cherry is going to be 60. By the way, if you don't know how arrays work or array maker work, I suggest to look some other videos so you get familiar with the arrays or array lists. Now we'll go to the next one. So sell prices, you can see it's all set to 0, but I'm going to fill this up once I start to play the game. So let's go here to our FSM, and in the first state you will see that ArrayList get next, and I'm getting the prices here. So I'm getting the prices from here, and I'm going to start from 0. So the first one will be 50. And once I got this, so I'm going to store this here in the price. Then I'm going to use this random int, and it's going to be minimum of 10 and a maximum of the current price. So if I would be on item 0, maximum would be 50. On item 3, maximum would be 60. And I'm going to store this as sell price. Then I'm going to use this array list set, and I reference the sell prices. You can see also the game object is set to use owner, so it's on this object. Then I will set the sell price in this item 0, and then it's going to loop back and get index 1. So it's going to get item 1, and we'll place item 1 and so on until done. So let me just make some breakpoints and play this. So then you can see what will happen. So now you can see nothing happened yet because on start I have already the breakpoint. And when you have a breakpoint on a state, it will stop before starting that selected state. So when I unpause, you can see it moved to the next one. And now you can see the previous one got the result here. So we have 50 here, and then we have 50 here. And let's unpause, and it goes to the next one. Now you can see, so the minimum was 10, maximum 50, and the result is 14. And array list set at index 0, sell price 14. And you can see here 14 has been set. Then let's continue for the next one. It's 33. Next one is 18 and 55. And now it's going to be done. So it's going to go here to the next one. And I can unpause this or stop playing this. Then the next part is going to send an event to the player. So it's gonna send an event to update its inventory here, but I'll get back into that in a minute. I'll just finish here on the data. So the next part, what will happen here is the display prices. So actually it doesn't do the display prices, it shows the currency. Sorry about that. So it's gonna display the currency. So my current currency, I have preset this to 2000. So this is the currency I'm gonna have to begin with. And then I just use this UI text set text, and I use convert as we are in Playmaker 1.9. And in here we have these converts. So it's easier to convert an int or a float to a text. And so we don't need to convert first and then store it and put it as a text. So that's a nice update. Then after we have set the text, I will go to this state. And what I have here is an int change. So the reason I do this, I don't want this to do to go every frame. So I don't want it to continue update here. I like more to have a look if the int is changed. So if the variable of this will change, then it's gonna update the display and then go back to look if the int is changed again. I think that's a little bit better for performance. You will not really notice, but it's a principle. So if it's not needed to update every frame, especially it's a display, so then it's better to do it this way. Okay, so that's all for the data. Now let's have a look at the player. In the first state, you can see nothing is happening, because I will be waiting for my update inventory to be called by the data here. So I'm going to send event by name, player, and update inventory. When this is called, I'm going to get my first index here. So I'm going to get this player item ID from here. and this is going to be 101, and store this into the ID, and also store the current index. Then I'm going to check if my ID is equal to 0, and if it's not equal or less than, then it's empty. So then I'm going to go here, and I'm going to get the reference here, the player slot image. So that's going to be this one. And then if I get this so into the current image slot, then I'm gonna set an image, and I'm just gonna set an empty image. If I set to none, I get a white background, so I need to use just an empty image, which I set in the editor. Then I'm also gonna get this reference to the player slot amount. So this is what I have here. And then I'm gonna set this text to nothing also to make it empty. So I don't have any stacks here. Then I'm also getting the player slot sell price, and you can see them here. And that one is for my sell price here below, and I'm also gonna set this to empty. So if there is no ID, so if there is no item, there will be no price also. Okay, and then I go back to get the next one, but I had something in it, so I have my 101 here. Then this means that it's not empty, and I will look for this ID in my data. So here you can see array list contains, and I'm referencing to the data, not use owner. And let me lock this so we can go to the data here. So I'm gonna look if on item ID in this data object, if this item exists. So that was 101, and so it exists, and that's going to be the banana. So item 1 is connected with this item 1. So now we know it's there. And so if, let me see, if it's there, we're going to send this next event. If it's not there, we're going to send an error, and that means that something went wrong in your setup. So you have to check your ID numbers. During the game, that should not happen. Okay, then I have my index result, and that's gonna be this index 1, and I'm gonna need that to get the other data here on this data game object. So I found it. Then I'm gonna get the image here from the data. So item images, and then the contained index. So just to be sure, so we have the contained index and we have the current index. So for inside the data, we need the contained index, and here we're going to store the current image, and that's going to be the banana. And then we're also going to get the player slot for the image. So that's going to be this one, the reference here, and that's going to be slot 1 image. So current image slot, and then we use UI image set sprite, and we use the current image slot with the current image, and that will place this first banana. And next step, we're gonna set the sell price. So again, we get some data from this data game object, and now we're gonna get the sell price. So that's gonna be here, and now it's still 0, but after when we start the game, then it's gonna be filled up. So we will have some other amounts here. So I'm gonna get this from the contained index, so that's again index 1, and I will get this data, and that's gonna be the current sell price. Then I have my player slot sell price, so that's going to be the reference for this sell price, and that's going to be stored to the current sell price slot. And then I do UI text set text and the current sell price slot, and then as a text the current sell price. I use a convert here. So if you are on Playmaker below 1.9.0, you cannot do this. This is only from, I believe it's from 1.9.0 or higher. So I can convert this, so I don't need to use this convert from int to string. If you are in a lower Playmaker, you can still do this, so you can convert an int to string. Let me search quickly here, convert into string. So we set your int and a string variable, and then you will just get this string variable, and then you use the string variable in this text, and that will work also. So this is just faster. Okay, then we're gonna check the stack. So we're gonna look on the player on its current stack from this. So let's get back here, and as you can see, item 0 has 6 stacks. So we got this 6 stacks here in the current stack, and then we're going to compare if it's equal or less. Well, actually, if it's greater than 1. If it's greater, we're going to set a stack. So we're going to set an amount here. And if it's 1 or less, then we're not going to set anything here. So if it's less, we're just going to set this empty. So we're going to reference again the player slot. Let me see. Player slot amount. So we're going to reference this one and then set the text to 0. And if we want the stack, then we get here the slot here, and then we set the current stack. And once that one is ready, then we go back and do the next one. So let me set a breakpoint here and just show you quickly here. So, oh, I still have these breakpoints. Let me disable them. Then play this, and now it's gonna start with the inventory. And here you can see my first item is set. So I have banana, and the price is 11. And let me check in data, and you can see the banana is item 1. So index banana is item 1, and you can see that the sell price is 11. Okay, then let me loop again. Then it's the second one. So we had stack of 10, and let me show you here. So we have a stack of 10 of item 50, and again the data 50 is item 0, so that's going to be the orange, and that's going to be 48 for the price. And then we go next until all are done. And now we're finished. Now let's have a look at the vendor. First, I will show you the arrays here. So I have my item IDs here, and I have everything preset already here. So I know already what my vendor needs to sell. And you can see I already set the images, and then also I have my IDs here, and they should correspond with the buttons. So in my first item I have 101, and in my first slot I'm gonna have this banana, And you can see here my panel here. So I have my price bananas and the image, and then I have cherry and strawberry and orange, and you can see in here I have selected my banana, and you can see these are buttons actually, and I use buttons so I can press it and then I can do something. So let's go back to the vendor here. So I have my reference here for the price display. So that's going to be the text. I don't have a reference for my images because I'm not going to change this, and I already preset them, so I don't need to look for them. And I have my prices, and my prices I'm going to get from the data when I start playing this this game. And so we're going to start here, array list get next. I'm going to get the item ID, and that's going to be here, and the first one I'm going to get is 101. Then I'm going to find this ID, and let me lock this back, and then we're going to find this in the data, and 101 is going to be the banana. And so we got the item here, item 1, and that reference we're going to get here in the contained index. And then we're going to get some other info. So we're going to get the prices, and we're going to get the price at the contained index. That was item 1. So I'm going to get this 40, and I'm going to set this to this banana. So that's the prices. Then I'm going to get this vendor price display. So that's the reference here. So that's going to be price banana. And then I'm going to set text on this banana, well, on this this text. And I'm also going to set the price here to this array. And this is just for later on, if I'm going to click a button to buy something, it's faster to reference here. That's why I'm placing them here as well. So then I'm going to loop back and do the next one and the next one until done. So let me play this, and you can see all prices are going to be set. So if I pause this and then go back, you can see it loops. So 1, 2, 3, 4 times, and then it's done. So we set these. And then I'm going to listen to some button. And this UI button from array index is an action I made also. And a big advantage with this is I can set some buttons into an array. You can also use the other one, UI button. Let me see. UI button array. No, actually there is a UI button array index on the ecosystem, which I made also, and there you can get the index. So this you can use also, but this you can use dynamically, while so in game you can add more and less buttons if needed. So let's go to this array here. And I just noticed here that the reference, the category got mixed up again. So anyway, so I have my vendor item buttons here into an array. And my player item buttons. Okay, so these are all buttons. Then if my vendor item buttons are clicked, then I'm going to send an event for the vendor. And if a player item button is clicked, then I'm going to send event here. And I'm going to store the index number from the button that was hit. So it's important that the slots are correct. So slot 1 will be the first one, and that's going to be index 0. Then slot 2 going to be second one, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah, arrays always start with 0. So then for this one we have the banana, cherry, strawberry, orange. So banana, cherry, strawberry, orange, and that's 0, 1, 2, 3. And as we can see here into the vendor, so 0, 1, 2, 3, and that's banana, cherry, strawberry, orange. Okay, so let's go first. If a player clicks, then we're gonna check if it's empty. So if a player would click on this one, it's empty, and let me stop it first. And so if it's 0, then it's empty, and it's just gonna go back to the listener. And so I have this current stacked also, but actually I don't even have to. Yeah, I need to take this first, never mind. So I could also place this afterwards actually, because if it's empty, yeah, we don't need this actually. So let's move this. Let's place this here. That's better. So if it's not empty, then I'm gonna get the player current stack. So it's locked, so let me go to the player here. So from the player we're gonna get the current stacked, and that is in here. So if I would have the first item clicked and something was in it, so I have this stack of 6 that's gonna be stored here. Then I'm gonna get the ID from it. So the ID would be 101 if this is the first one I've clicked. And I'm gonna store this, and then I'm gonna go to the data if this ID exists. And if it exists, then we can continue. Oh, actually, I didn't do any calls here. I just put a finished. Normally I should just add this next. Let me just do this quickly. And also, if not contained, that should be an error. Okay, that's better. Okay, so I've found this item. Then I have the current index. So from the data, I'm going to get the sell price, and it will be down here. Once played, there will be some values here. And once I get this, I'm going to add to currency. So I'm going to use this get FSM int, and I'm going to get the currency on the data. So that's going to be this currency. Okay, here. The currency here, that's now 2000. And that I'm going to store in this current currency. Then I'm going to add the sell price, and then I'm going to set this back to the current currency. So get FSM int, and then int add, and set FSM int. And now my data going to be updated with the new currency. So after I've done that, then I'm going to deduct 1 from the stack. So on the current stack, I'm going to do -1. And then I'm going to save this back, or store this back to my index here. So on the player current stacked. So I'm going to deduct 1, and this will become 5. Then I'm going to check if the current stack is going to be 0. So after I deduct 1, and if it's going to be 0, then I'm going to remove the ID as it should be empty. So I'm just going to remove the ID here and then update the inventory. Now, if there is an item, then just continue do nothing and also update the inventory. So I'm going to send the event to update the inventory. And then I also use this send event here self back to listener. What this does, it's just going to go back to my listener up here. As you can see, sent by, so I have a couple of them. And this is just because I don't want to have this wire going across everything. It just looks ugly. So that's why I do this in this way. So that's the part now for the player. And now let's look to the vendor. So if a vendor button is pressed, so let's say banana, then I'm not going to check if empty because I know it cannot be empty. So I don't have to check that. But I'm going to get the prices from the click index. So instead, I'm going to get it from the data now. I'm just going to get it directly from here because I know on item 0 that this price is already set here. So I'm just going to get, I guess it was 50 or 101 is 40, sorry. So that's going to be 40. Then I'm going to get the item ID from the click index. So that's also again here, use owner. So that's going to be here, 101. Then I'm going to check my budget. So I'm going to get my current currency. And then I'm going to compare it to the price. So if my currency is higher than the price to buy this banana, then it's fine. It's just gonna set this bool value to reset and continue. And if the current price is higher than what I have in my current currency, then I don't have enough, and I'm just going to go back to the listener. I could put something in between here with a pop-up that I don't have enough money or anything, but as I said, I want to keep it simple, so it will just go back to the vendor here and do nothing. Then, so if the budget is enough, we're gonna go here, and then we're gonna get this player item ID, and we're gonna loop through the player here. So we're gonna loop through these items, and we're gonna check the ID if it's the same. So the item that I pressed here is banana 101, and well, we are lucky here. Player item ID 101 is the first one, and that's a hit. So if it's the same, then it's gonna go to the next one. If it's not the same, it's gonna get the next item here from the player item ID and check that one, and then check next one until the end. And if nothing is found, then it will go back here. But let's first continue here. So we found the same one. Then we're gonna check our stack. So we're gonna get the current stacked on the player. So the stack is 5, so that's fine. We can continue. We can check here in compare 10. I can set this also higher. Then, so if it's not full, then we're gonna continue here. If it's full, we're gonna go back and we're gonna look for the next item here on the player item IDs. And same also again until done. So if we found nothing or everything is full, then we will be going back to here. But if we found something where we can add it, or an empty space also good, then I know if it's empty, then it cannot go here actually, because if the ID is 0, so it can never be the same, so that wouldn't be possible. So if we found an item that was the same inside this inventory and then the stack is not yet 10, then we can deduct the currency. So what we have here is the current currency, current price. So I already took the current currency, I think, but maybe it's even best to add this first. No, I did already actually. So because I'm gonna check this budget, so I have the current currency, so that's safe. Okay. So I have the int operator here, and I'm gonna deduct or subtract the current price from the currency. And then I'm gonna use this set FSM int again to update my data. Then after that, I'm gonna add 1 to the current stack. And then I'm gonna set this data also again on the player current stack. So when I purchased one, it's gonna be 6. When another one gonna be 7, and so on. And then I'm gonna update the inventory again. And also here is again back to listener. So I'm gonna go back here actually. And I have a next frame just to be sure that no double presses could happen. Although that shouldn't be possible to happen, but you never know, it's better to be sure. So now if we didn't find anything here that matches, so let's say I have only strawberry here and I have cherries here and some oranges, but no bananas. Then we're gonna go here. And oh yeah, so I have again here this reset, and this is to reset the array list get next. Well, it's best to have a look to the array maker tutorials, then you understand this. But in short, this will just reset and start to 0 and then set this bool back to false. So I want to reset this one just to be sure that I'm going to start from the beginning. And the same I'm doing actually here. As you can see here, I also have a reset, and that's for this one. Okay. So here we're going to find an empty one. So we're going to loop again through all of them. And now we're going to look if there is an empty one. So I'm getting the first index, and on the player, I'm going to get index 0, and that one is not empty. So it's going to say it's full. Doesn't mean that there are 10, it's just there is an object in it. Then the next one is also full, go back, and then the third one, the item 2, is 0, so we can place something in it. So in here we have our set ID, and I have this player item ID, and current index. And here I'm going to place the ID into this array. And I'm going to set the current stack. Oh, well, actually here I'm only going to set the int value from the current stack to 0, because I know that we start with an empty stack. And I just want to reuse these two. I could also set this separate for each, and then just set here the array list set current stack to 0, but I just like to reuse, so that's why I did it this way. So now this current stack is set to 0, and then I'm gonna do again the same here. So I'm gonna deduct currency and set the data again here for my new currency. Then add to inventory, so in add current stack is gonna be 1. So when I came from here, I had 5, and that will be 6 then. But if I come from here, it's set to 0, so then it's gonna be 1. And then again the update inventory. So I had set certain data here or information here, and well, have a look at it, and I hope this tutorial helped you out. Thank you for watching. If you liked the tutorial, please like the video and don't forget to subscribe to my channel. You can support my work by becoming a patron at Patreon, or donate me with PayPal, or purchase my assets on the Asset Store. You can find the links in the descriptions below.